Hi guys, how you doing? Not sure where we're at on the videos at the moment. Actually, it's officially Dab Day, day after Boxing Day today, and I've been doing lots of bits and bobs on the video. Can't remember what I have and haven't recorded. Can't remember my last upload to YouTube actually. So I'm winging it here a little bit. Just out in the garage this evening, just finishing off a few things. Yesterday I filled it up with fluids, or filled it up with oil anyway, and got the engine running. So either before or after this there'll be a little update on that. And I tried to show some interesting stuff as I'm putting the car back together. So at the moment I'm just cleaning up the exhaust, ready to go on. So when I took off the exhaust, it looked pretty awful actually. It wasn't in very good condition, pretty rusty, and I was really in two minds whether to replace it or not. Looking at prices, the LCB didn't look great. It was about 250, 300 quid for a stainless LCB. The rear box on the car is original Janspeed exhaust, which are quite hard to come by nowadays. There was a seller selling one on eBay. Again, it was about 275 quid. So all in all, by the time you had bits and bobs and link pipes and that, it would have probably been £500–600 to replace the exhaust. Now, I'm not a skinflint or anything, and I just have an aversion to spending money unnecessarily. If something could be cleaned up, repaired, reconditioned, I get more satisfaction out of doing that than I do dishing out a load of money and spending money on things. It also comes, I think, as a bit of a trait of working in the motor trade all my life. I honestly don't think any part, service or anything I've ever had done to a car has ever been more than about 400 quid. So like I say, I'll always try and repair stuff myself. The only thing I'm not great at is spraying, but I even try my best with that rather than get someone else to do it. I enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done. So it might take me twice as long, but I get a lot of satisfaction from doing it at the end of the day and learning something new. So like I say, the exhaust wasn't great. I started to clean up some bits. The LCB cleaned up quite nicely, so I cleaned that all off, cure rusted it, rubbed it all back, and then painted that with some very high temperature paint, so that looks really good now. The rest of the exhaust has been sitting out in the garden and collecting more rust. So as I say, it didn't look great to begin with anyway, and I'll try and snap to a shot of the exhaust now. And that's before I cleaned it. So I've just started now, just dismantling it. So I thought I'd just go over a few things and show you a few things on it. So I think first thing I'll show you actually, just because as I say, I like to show you some things that sometimes they can be interesting, might be useful to you in the future. Here's the catalytic converter. As you can see, it's got a stainless shield which goes on the underneath. The top side of it, which sits inside sort of, well, almost the transmission tunnel, but it's not on a Mini because it's front wheel drive. That top side is up against or close to the floor inside the car, so there'll be a heat shield that goes above that bolts to the bodywork. Mine's really damaged and I need to repair it actually. And again, I'll try and put a photo in here. But if that heat shield is damaged, it can melt the carpet inside the car and cause a bit of damage. So certainly if you've got a Mini that's still running a catalyst, you need that heat shield on there. I've heard some people taking them off before, but yeah, you could set fire to your carpets inside the car. So this is the catalytic converter off my Mini. And I thought it was quite interesting because it's a really quick indication just to see whether this cat's been working. I mean, this, as far as I know, is the original catalyst. It's done 104,000 miles. They do break up. They're in quite a harsh environment. If the engine misfires or vibrations from the engine can cause them to break up, and the honeycomb in them disappears. If you look inside, you can see there's a honeycomb structure inside. It doesn't help holding it up to the light, but you can see inside there that can break up and it ends up inside. It ends up blocking up the rear exhaust, gets stuck in the rear exhaust box. So the catalytic converter there is to remove harmful gases. From memory, not easy. It removes carbon monoxide, which is a poisonous gas. Nitrogen oxides, which again is, it causes smog, but it's I think it's more responsible for acid rain. So a lot of talk of acid rain in the 80s before catalytic converters. And finally, there is it removes hydrocarbons as well, which result in smog, so form smog in cities and things like that. But a really quick way of seeing if this catalytic converter is working, it has an in and an out, and if we look at the outlet side of the catalyst, you can see inside there's like that beige sort of coloured honeycomb monolith inside. It's not a filter, it doesn't filter out the gases just pass through it, so if you shine the light in the other end you'll be able to see all the way through. It's just like a fine honeycomb structure. So this end you'll see it's kind of light beige, there's not much soot in there. If I look at the other end you'll see it's just completely black. That is full of soot from the engine, so that's kind of pre-catalyst and post-catalyst. So without doing any other testing, that's a pretty good indication to me that that catalyst has been working, so that's good news. What I'll probably do, I've got some carbon removing solution. I'll probably put this catalyst in a bucket and just leave that to soak overnight and see if I can get some of clean it up a little bit before it goes back on the car. Here's the Janspeed exhaust itself. Now if I put the photo in earlier, you would have seen this look pretty awful, but I've literally just spent about 10 minutes just trying to clean this up, and as you'll see it's a stainless exhaust, and with a bit of elbow grease that really shines up quite nicely. So probably be an hour's work, hour and a half's work, but it's nearly 300 quid for that rear box, so it's worth cleaning up. At the moment I'm just trying to get this joint apart here. As you see it's quite rusty, that's rusted together there, so little hint for you, I use penetrating oil on it to make it easier to come apart rather than fighting with it. A big tip with penetrating oil, when you put it on and leave it to soak. You know, leave it 10-15 minutes and just keep applying it every 10-15 minutes. Give it time to work. If you just put it on and then try and get it off straight away, that penetrating oil hasn't had time to work, so it's really worth taking some time there and just saving yourself a lot of hard work and effort. Really, you make it difficult when you don't wait. So that's about it for the moment. There's a tailpipe there. Again, that'll need a bit of a clean up. I'll probably have to get some new clamps for the exhaust as well. The old ones literally kind of had rusted away to nothing. And then tomorrow, I think, like I say, the oil's in the engine now, and I have started the engine. It does run. It's a little bit noisy. Obviously, it's only got the LCB on it at the moment. I'll put the brake fluid in, but I haven't bled the brakes yet. I thought I'd just put it in, and it'll just gradually, you know, any air bubbles in there might come to the surface before I try bleeding it, make it a little bit easier to bleed. And the only thing I want to do before I refill the cooling system is just run a flush through it quickly. So most of the water got drained out. It's a new radiator in it, but there's probably still some old water in heater matrix down the back there. Certainly a little bit in the block. I just want to make sure that's flushed out, because like I said, I've spent a bit of time cleaning out that header tank, new radiator on it. I've got fresh antifreeze to put in it. There's nothing worse than rusty looking water in a car. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'll get that done. Probably over the next couple of days. Again, busy over Christmas, family coming around and seeing people, seeing family and friends. So just trying to do these bits and bobs in between. But that's all for me for now. So thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.